after we know how to place our views, that's when we start annotating them, or adding dimensions, adding notes, adding whatever it is that we need. So once I've placed my views, I can go to my Annotate tab, and that's where I start to add those notes. So for example here, our dimension tool, that's our key thing on our Puzzle Cube project, is we have to add the dimensions to our project. So the dimensioning tool works just like in sketch mode, is that I'm clicking the lines, the edges, or whatever that I want to add the dimension to. If you get this title block or toolbar when you place that first dimension, if you uncheck this box and say OK, it won't pop up again. And I'm going to place that dimension there. I'm not going to worry about that it's on top of my title block, because if I close my dimensioning tool, I can simply move my front view up, and then it's no longer on the title block. So I'll open my dimensioning tool again and simply dimension my part as I think is appropriate. So I can jump over to sheet 2, which was another multi-view, dimension it. Again, how I think is appropriate. You should have gotten feedback on your Puzzle Cube part through your multi-views in your engineering notebook. Otherwise, there's resources on the LMS that talk about dimensioning standards, but your ability to dimension is being assessed on step 3 of the project. So dimensioning is pretty straightforward, pretty easy. On sheet 1, we're going to be doing a little bit of different notation. Okay, I have to add what's called a parts list, and I have to add balloons to my exploded view. The parts list is this tool over here on the right side of the ribbon. Okay, the easiest way to make sure that I'm adding the parts list to the correct file is simply clicking on the view. So I said select view, I clicked on the view, I know it's correct. I'm going to say OK, I'm going to say OK, and this is going to come in rather large, but I can shrink the columns. One thing that you do want to do is make sure that your parts list is kind of tucked into a corner, or it's not just kind of free floating in space. So if you're going to have to move your views around a little bit, that's fine, but get it to where everything's fitting on the page, everything looks nice and neat and organized. If you want to add text to the description column, you can double click on it, and the description you might add is that these are all hardwood. So I'm going to Control C, Control V, Control V, Control V, Control V, copy and place, apply it, say OK, and now in my description it all says hardwood. Second thing we have to add is balloons. So I open my balloon command, and so for example here, this blue part, I'm going to click on this long edge and place that part, or place that balloon by left clicking on the part and then clicking off in space. Notice it allows you to kind of create these breaks and elbows. I don't need any, so I'm just going to right click and say continue. Black part, maybe I want to come off over here, so I'm going to right click or left click on the part, left click out in space, right click and say continue. What I don't want you to do, for example on this green part, my balloon I probably want to put over here. Don't click on the part in a spot where that arrowhead and the leader line is going to cross over the part. So if I want the balloon to be over here, I want to click on the outside edge that faces the direction that I want that balloon. So sheet 1 would be done. I do need to put something in for scale. If I go through and look at sheet 2, it's fully dimensioned. I would need to put in my title block information. Sheet 3, fully dimensioned. All I would have to do is place my next 3 multi-views, dimension them, make sure my title block information is filled out, and then your drawing set would be done.